And we're back at it after a beautiful day off. It is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, Wednesday, 26th day of December 2018. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the NCW Life Channel. I'm Dan Kuntz, your host, and today we're going to continue our long tradition that we have here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley of not working real hard during the holiday break, which is now officially in full swing. For many people, the holiday period really starts New Year's Eve and goes, not New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, and kind of goes through New Year's Day. And so we're into that mode now. I hope you had a great Christmas. Hope you got to spend it with family and friends. I hope the big fat guy got you the gifts that you wanted, and I also hope Santa Claus got you the gifts that you wanted as well. But we're back at it here on a Wednesday, and as I mentioned before, we're not going to work real hard. Megan, by the way, is in control. I know Santa treated her very well. I got treated very well. I must have been a good boy for 2018, and now we're back at it. Again, not a lot happening this week. It's pretty quiet. Schools are out, and a lot of people are taking some vacation time or just taking a holiday break or working half days or whatever, things like that. But we're going to endeavor to give you whatever quality television we can possibly do here. Megan promised us a pretty quality show today. I don't think I can get there. I'll do my best, though. I really will. We're going to have a little bit of snow today, maybe an inch or so. Forecast details are coming up for, depending on where you live. Here on the valley floor, we didn't have a white Christmas. In fact, the sun came out for quite a bit yesterday afternoon. But Mother Nature's going to make that up just a little bit, just a little skiff of snow. Not going to last very long. Forecast details are coming up. We're also take you up to the major mountain passes on a big travel day today. Going to be a little dicey up there. Not going to lie to you. Pass report coming up as well. Plus your latest headlines on this Wednesday morning. There is some news to get to, believe it or not. We'll also tackle sports. Oh, tackle sports. There's a nice little euphemism, little metaphor I wasn't expecting. Sports report, mostly Seahawks related. Pete Carroll's going to be hanging around, it looks like, as the head football coach for a few more years. We'll also have the obscure holiday of the day today. Today in history, birthdays, everybody's entitled to my honest opinion. And in the second half of the program, I interview with Caitlin Heddersheet, the former producer of this program. She has put together a beautiful half-hour NCW Life magazine on what it's like to ride around with a police officer on a DUI emphasis patrol. On a typical Saturday night during the holidays, the officer in question, Officer Albert Gonzalez of the Wenatchee Police Department, we'll have an interview with Caitlin that we taped last week. We'll air that for you in the back half of the show. And also during our newscast, we'll preview that special that Kat put together. It's a good combination of information and entertainment. We hope you enjoy that. If you're ready, I'm ready. At 3 minutes after the hour, let's take you around the valley with our cameras, courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi high-speed wireless. That, of course, is the cross camera. Is that the cross camera, Megan, or is that the east cross? It's the other cross camera. We call that the east cross camera. It's a little bit lower and a little bit farther to the east, so it's not exactly where the cross camera is. It's about 200 yards, 250 yards to the east of our regular cross camera. It's also a little bit lower than our cross camera, but it's still a beautiful shot of the Wenatchee Valley. And what is this Sky-Fi high-speed wireless? This is a good time to bring that up, because if you got a brand new super smart something that loves to interact with the internet, you can get screaming fast internet at your house, and you don't have to have fiber. Isn't that cool? So if you got a cool gadget, you're not really sure how to make it work, if you want fiber, give Sky-Fi a call, 888-8888. They'll take care of you. So there's the Wenatchee Valley from our Cross East camera. We don't use that very often. We should use it more often. Camera 2, according to 3M, it's going to be a slow dissolve to that. Oh, that's a beautiful view of, it's Hose Landing. Okay, Hose Landing. So this is on the Douglas County side of the Columbia River. That little bright light you see in the middle is pretty much kind of Aniat, I guess is about the best way to put it. That's where the Aniat River empties into the Columbia, and portions of Aniat are to the right-hand corner of your screen. You can't make out anything. It's still dark. Sunrise isn't until 7:47. And the days are getting gradually longer, but it's not sunrise getting earlier, it's sunset getting later. Sunset will be anywhere between 20 to 30 seconds later each day. Sunrise will be right around 7:46 or 7:47 for the next week or so, and then we'll really start to feel the effect of longer days once we get into January. So that's Hose Landing, trust me. Camera 3. 3M says we're going to see what's happening at the Appalachians camera. Now we can see Kashmir. That looks pretty good. The skies above Kashmir look just really pretty Indeed, as you can see, the people commuting into town, for those few people who are working during the holiday season. As I mentioned before, we're working, but we're not going to work real hard. I mean, what do you expect? Good morning, Kashmir. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday morning. And finally, camera 4. Let's see what's happening there. And of course, there, as we all know, it's pretty simple, is what? Is that the monitor camera? Is that the... Oh, that's the other hose landing camera. Well, there you go. Megan's mixing things up, making me work today. I don't know why. So the far left is the Wenatchee Valley. You can tell by the light pollution in the Columbia River and the orchards sitting there and doing not much anything in late December. That's a good looking view there, and it's a pretty high up camera too. I've actually had to travel up to where that camera position is, where that transmission tower is. It's a hairy drive if you don't know what you're doing. So good morning to hose landing in the upper part of the Columbia River behind Rocky Reach Dam. 6 minutes after the hour from the National Weather Service. Here's your forecast for this day after Christmas. We're going to get some snow today, about an inch. It's going to be cloudy. Snow is going to develop over our area and then gradually spread over to eastern Washington throughout the course of the afternoon and the evening. Now, it's really not out there, not a lot that's going to happen a great deal today. In fact, we have a slide to show you. So just figure out where you live, and the slide will show you how much snow we're going to get for the Wenatchee Valley. About an inch, maybe even less than an inch. More snow the farther east you go. It's going to have time to build up. Do we not have that slide, Megan? Maybe we don't. We do. Yeah, let's go ahead and throw that slide up if you don't mind, 3M. There we go. Take a look at what you live, and that's what you're going to get snow-wise. So a little bit more snow to the north of us, a little bit more snow to the west of the Wenatchee Valley. Ellensburg's going to get a little bit more snow. Moses Lake, maybe a couple of inches here in the Wenatchee Valley because of the shadows that the Cascade crest gives us. Right around an inch of snow, probably less than an inch is what we're going to get. And with an afternoon high of about 35, it's not going to be sticking around a great deal. Back to the forecast, mostly cloudy tonight, 26 for the overnight low. Sunshine and quite a bit of sunshine on Thursday and a high near 36 degrees. Thursday night, partly cloudy, 24 for the overnight low. Friday, lots of clouds, top off at 34 degrees. There is no snow, as you can see in the forecast, once we get through today for really quite some time. Just a very slight chance of some light flurries Friday night, Saturday, and Saturday night. No real accumulation at all. Look at your highs on Saturday and Sunday, lower 40s. It's been an unseasonably warm December. And, the temperatures have been well above normal. In fact, record high temperatures we had last week. So we're back down to more normal temperatures. But for the valley floor anyway, we are way behind on what we're supposed to be getting for snowfall on the valley floor. We just haven't had that much, and we're just going to get maybe an inch tops here in the Wenatchee Valley by the end of the day today. And as you can tell, it's not going to hang around much longer. So there's your forecast from the National Weather Service. And let's take you up to the major mountain passes where they were dry as well for quite some time, but Mother Nature's giving them some snow, and quite a bit of snow. We'll start out with I-90. No advisories, no restrictions. You look at that and you go, boy, that looks terrible. It's actually okay. It is snowing, but it's not really sticking to the ground. The plows are getting ahead of the game. The roadway is mostly bare and wet with some snow coming down. No advisories, no restrictions on I-90. I like it when I can tell you that. Stevens Pass does have a traction tire advisory, US 2 Stevens. The roadway is mostly bare and dry. You get up to the very top of Stevens Pass, the last 4 or 5 miles in either direction, you're going to run into some snow and ice in places. It's snowing lightly on Stevens Pass. Traction tires are again advised. No advisories, no restrictions on Blewett. Blewett looks just fine. Blewett's mostly bare and dry, as a matter of fact, with some frost and ice in places. So if you haven't made up your mind yet on what direction, not direction, but what passes you're going to take if you're heading into the mountain passes today, your best bet would be there, Blewett Pass, and then heading on over to I-90 because it looks like they're going to be fine all day today. Stevens could get a little dicey at times. Your forecast for the mountain passes today, as we mentioned before, we're going to expect just a little bit of snow here in the Wenatchee Valley. That means more snow in the mountains. It always does. 3 to 5 inches possible today in the Cascades. Tonight, an additional 2 to 4 inches possible, and then things dry out a lot. So they're going to get 3 to 5 today, 2 to 4 tonight, then really nothing at all on Thursday night, and on Friday. But then Friday night, an additional storm system is going to come into the Cascades, and they're looking at 3 to 7 inches possible on Friday night. So snow accumulations today and tonight, then it dries off till we get to Friday night. Another snow event, not a big one, but enough to make things dicey on Friday night. And then intermittent snow showers, kind of hit and miss for the Cascades on Saturday and Sunday. Again, no advisories nor restrictions on I-90 Snoqualmie Pass or on US 97 Blue Pass. Traction tires are advised this morning on Stevens. Going to take a break at 10 minutes after the hour. When we come back, your Wednesday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 3 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
Everything we do is about delivering very high quality care and keeping our patients safe.
We really work as a team here, and so that's really what makes it worthwhile.
I give 100% every day, and I do that because I work for a company that I believe gives 100% back to me.
The bottom line is we genuinely care about our employees.
It is the most incredible place to work, and you will be inspired every day.
Hey everyone, did you know that the NCW Life channel is North Central Washington's go-to source for news? No matter how you prefer to view your news, NCW Life has you covered. Watch the evening news weeknights on TV, stream it, read it at ncwlife.com, or catch the latest news by following us on Facebook. Stay informed with local news, sports, weather, and shows featuring local people and events. NCW Life, a reflection and a spotlight of the communities we call home.
Just about 12 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. Overcast, little spittles of snow, 27 degrees. We're going to get about maybe an inch of snow here in the Wenatchee Valley by the time the day's end, and a high today of about 35. Let's do your news on this Wednesday. An Oregon couple is in custody after allegedly going on a shopping spree, spending thousands of dollars using fake credit and gift cards. Okanagan County Sheriff Frank Rogers says 47-year-old Kristen L. Burton of Cannon Beach and 51-year-old Dion Gonzalez of Portland arrested after an investigation revealed the two had used stolen credit card numbers and then manufactured fake cards with their names on them. Rogers says the suspects also used fake gift cards to make thousands of dollars worth of purchases throughout Okanagan and surrounding counties, including the Wenatchee area. The Sheriff's Office has seized high-dollar items with the tags still on them, and they're seeking information from the public on where those items may have been purchased. Some of the items appear to have been purchased in Winthrop, Twisp, and from pawn shops. We know that the two had traveled from Oregon and that they were in the Chelan-Wenatchee area in addition to areas over in western Washington. If you have any information on this ongoing investigation, you're asked to contact the Okanagan Sheriff's Office, and that number is 422-7232. Well, two people escaped, but an unidentified person was killed in a fire Monday morning in the Lake Wenatchee area. This was a home fire. Initially, a woman was reported as missing. Jason Reinfeld of the Chelan County Sheriff's Office said the fire was in the 22,000 block of Alpine Drive in Lake Wenatchee.
Fire was reported about 9:20 this morning. It ended up having a single-family home fully engulfed in flames. Two male residents were able to escape, and they had indicated at the time that there was a third person unaccounted for. Fire crews are still working on putting out the fire at this time, and the cause is under investigation.
On to other things. When the holiday season ends, you got to get rid of your Christmas tree somehow, right? Your once live Christmas tree. Well, in Wenatchee, Boy Scout Troop number 7 will begin recycling trees beginning January 5th at the Stemilt Organic Recycling Center at 1465 South Wenatchee Avenue. You can drop off your tree from 9 a.m. to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. A $5 donation is recommended. Now in Douglas County, Countywide Solid Waste is holding a special tree cycling event on January 5th as well. That's from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 6114 Batterman Road in East Wenatchee. A $5 donation is also recommended there for that event. Remember, you got to get rid of all the ornaments and all the tinsels off your tree before you recycle it. Well, Christmas Eve started early Monday morning with a prayer and a hot meal at the Lighthouse in Wenatchee. That's the South Wenatchee Avenue Soup Kitchen that serves up dozens of meals on a daily basis. But it's during this time of the year that the need is greatest. Our very own senior news correspondent Steve Hare filed this report.
Well, the Christmas holiday is a special time at the Lighthouse, and it's likely you'll see someone you know volunteering their time to make the holidays a little more comfortable for our community's homeless.
My name is Gloria Reichman. I'm from Kashmir, and I'm also a Kiwanian. I'm also the president of Wakoka Kiwanians, and this is the most wonderful place to volunteer. It allows you to help people, and remember that's our main responsibility on this planet, you know, because God is present in all these people, and so you're touching Christ, and Christ is touching you. These people are so grateful for whatever you do. And by helping the people here, it allows you to help the people in my Kashmir community, because we're able to bring things, extra things from here down to our food bank. And many times these people will even come to Kashmir to the Thursday night dinner at the Methodist Church, and we recognize them and welcome them as good friends. I would certainly encourage anybody to come down and volunteer, because you are appreciated, and you're kind of letting people know that God loves them, and they tell you thank you here.
The Lighthouse has operated the soup kitchen since 2010. Since then, they've expanded to include homeless shelters, a free clinic, and preschool. Fueled strictly through charitable donations, the group is now involved in repurposing an old fruit packing house as the organization's base of operations. Volunteers Ron and Nani Paquette described the project on today's Street Talk and Other Stuff program.
Yeah, we're going from 2,700 square feet to 33,000.
So the main floor, they completely redone the whole floor, tore all the walls out and everything. They poured concrete on the whole building on the new floor. And about a third of that will be the medical and dental clinic on one side, all brand new offices, all brand new. They have 4 dental rooms, 4 medical rooms, and all of this, whatever they need to go along with that. The rest of it will be the soup kitchen dining area.
Okay, so you're moving from the lighthouse down to there?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
oh, I see, okay.
Yep. Completely remodeled. All new power, all new water, all new everything, HVAC in the building. It's taken a lot of money, a lot of time.
Sure.
All the donors in this valley, I gotta thank you. It's been amazing ministry that you've donated to resurrect this building for the future and beyond.
The Paquettes say the new Lighthouse Ministries facility is slated to open sometime in the new year. Steve Hare, NCW Life News.
Thank you very much, Steve, for that report. And finally, on this Wednesday morning, for the rest of this week, not only on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, your local morning television talk show, but also during the evening news with Grant Olson and Eric Granstrom, will be featuring a little something that our very own Caitlin Heddersheet put together. She went on a ride-along with Wenatchee Police Officer Albert Gonzalez as he works the night shift patrolling DUIs in downtown Wenatchee.
I've got eyes on him.
For the first time since 2012, drivers under the influence of alcohol and 1 or more other drugs, also known as polydrug drivers, have become the most common type of impaired driver involved in fatal crashes in Washington state. According to a 2018 Washington Traffic Safety Commission report, by 2016, the number of these drivers was more than double the number of alcohol-only drivers. Throughout his night shift, Wenatchee Police Officer Albert Gonzalez is working to spot impaired motorists within the city of Wenatchee. With more than 50 DUI arrests in 2018, Gonzalez is leading the charge for getting dangerous drivers out from behind the wheel.
If I'm looking to get DUIs, I'm probably going to be right here, where there's a bar on every block, and I'm probably going to be just making sure that everything's good here and that there's no major egregious traffic violations going on. You would be surprised how many times I'm just driving through here, minding my own business, not even looking for one, and a car runs a red light right in front of me, or dang near causes a collision right in front of me, or I've had before where cars almost hit me, and it ends up being a DUI. There's a little bit of luck, if you want to call it luck. I go out and I stop cars, like I said, and 90% of them are warnings, and it's just like, hey, just stay off your phone or slow down a little bit, and then on to the next. But you stop enough cars, eventually you're going to run across a DUI. You see that? My guy was driving in the oncoming lane, and he just made a lane change in the intersection. What the heck, man?
Officers are looking for clues to help them determine when a driver may be impaired. Gonzalez says there is one clue he looks for first when approaching a vehicle.
Odor for intoxicant, for alcohol. Also, how he pulls over is my one thing. I have to put my spotlight on the car to see what they're doing in the car before I get out. A lot of times they'll be reaching into the seat. We don't know what they have.
When approaching a driver, Officer Gonzalez says he focuses on their behavior along with answers to basic questions while also running a check on the driver's record.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, how are you?
Good. It's a nice ride, man. 2013, 335. This got the twin turbos in it. It's pretty fast, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's that back for you. All right, man, like I said, just checking on you, making sure you're good. So, have a
For
good night,
officers looking for impaired drivers, it's just as important to determine if a driver is sober as it is to determine impairment.
I was advising him.
For this traffic stop, Gonzalez says after looking for clues and talking with the driver, he was able to make a sound determination.
So there you go. Case in point. Not impaired. I think he was just messing around in the car or something. He says that this car is new to him. He has never driven it before. It's his mother-in-law's. So that could be.
According to Gonzalez, there is no typical impaired driver, as he stopped anyone from teenagers, teachers, attorneys, and doctors, even a police chief from another state. Regardless of their status, impaired drivers often feel a DUI charge brings life as they know it to a halt.
People think it's like a life-ending arrest. And it could be, I don't know. I've never had a DUI, obviously. But, I mean, it could be for a person. Shoot, I know that if me as an officer, I got a DUI off duty, yeah, that would probably be like a life-ending moment for me. That's my career. So I understand why DUIs are nitpicked and heavily scrutinized. And everything that's done in the DUI is looked at with a fine-tooth comb.
As our ride-along continued that Saturday night, Officer Gonzalez was able to make contact with several impaired motorists, including his very first felony DUI. Stay tuned to the NCW Life channel this week as we'll continue our conversation on the road and take a look at what a DUI arrest looks like with the Wenatchee Police Department. Caitlin Hedersheet, NCW Life News.
Good work, Kat. You can watch that segment again tonight during the evening news with Grant Olson. We'll have part 2 and part 3 on this show and on the evening news on Thursday and Friday. The entire magazine, a half an hour worth of information will come your way throughout the course of this week. And don't forget, in the second half of the program, my interview with our very own Caitlin Hedersheet. That'll be coming up in the second half of this morning's program. And you can watch, by the way, those segments on ncwlife.com. And that's one of the ways you can get a hold of us. Our website, ncwlife.com, has a Contact Us icon. Click on that in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You can submit news tips, or you can just say hi. If you also have a news tip, you can email us, news@ncwlife.com, or private message us on our Facebook page. You can see it at the bottom of your screen. Remember, this is as much your TV station as it is ours. It is 23 minutes after the hour. When we come back, what little sports we have, most of it Seahawk related, is next on the agenda. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
Turn back the clocks and grab the ice melt. Winter weather is here. This is Corey at Rose Tractor. If you're looking for a reliable way to clear snow, look no further than Cub Cadet. For sidewalks and driveways, a Cub Cadet snow thrower will get the job done in a jiffy. For larger jobs, a Cub Cadet Challenger utility vehicle with a snow blade will handle about anything. You can depend on Cub Cadet for years of reliable performance, and we'll help you select the best model for your job at Rose Tractor, family-run business at the corner of 3rd and Rock Island Road in East Wenatchee.
Welcome back. 24 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm Dan Kuntz. Let's do sports. Pete Carroll became the winningest coach in franchise history earlier this season. Now he's on his way to becoming the longest tenured coach in Seahawks history as well. Carroll, the first coach, of course, to lead the Seahawks to a Super Bowl victory, signed a multi-year contract extension on Monday. That means he'll be in Seattle, we hope, at least through the 2021 season. That would be Carroll's 12th season in Seattle, surpassing the 10 seasons that Mike Holmgren coached the team. Already this season, Carroll, who's 88-54-1 regular season record, and his postseason record is 9-5. Both of those passed Holmgren as the team's winningest coach. And following Sunday's win over the Kansas City Chiefs, the Seahawks have clinched a playoff berth for the 7 times in the 9 seasons since Pete Carroll was hired by Paul Allen after the 2009 season. Meanwhile, the Seahawks continue their preparations for their final regular season game. Arizona is in town on Sunday afternoon. Coach Carroll says no change to the practice schedule, even though Tuesday was Christmas.
Yeah, it's been marvelous to watch him grow. He's just grown within the program. How many years has he been here? Is this 4? Yeah, okay, so like he's a senior now, you know, and he's acting like it. He's embraced the opportunity and the role. He's grown through it. You know, there's that freshman year, and then the sophomore year, and then and he's just grown up right before our eyes, and he speaks so clearly about how it all works and how it fits together. And I was listening to him on the radio last night when driving home, and I was just so pleased to hear him have such clarity in what his purpose is and how it all fits together. That's so valuable for a young man, and it's just marvelous to see.
Oh, hi. Well, I told you we weren't working real hard on this the day after Thanksgiving. That wasn't Pete Carroll talking about preparations week. That was Pete Carroll talking about, of course, defensive end Frank Clark, who has emerged as one of the league leaders in pressuring opposing quarterbacks. He has 12 sacks and 41 combined tackles. Here's more with Coach Pete Carroll talking about Mr. Clark.
That ain't nothing better than that. That's as good as it gets for us. That's what spells your chance for success. And we couldn't be more committed to that thought. That's exactly where we want to be. And we got another week to see if we can hold that. Just as a little sidebar kind of emphasis. We'd love to wind up on top of the league in that area. And it really, the number one aspect of that is we've gone 8 games without turning the ball over. I mean, that's a fantastic number. I don't know how that compares with other teams, but that's an incredible number, and everybody contributes to that. Russ has a huge part in that, and he's great at not giving him the football, but everybody contributes. We watch video every week of our technique versus what's going on around the league, and you saw the ball that got punched out and how loose that ball was being handled. That was a tremendous disciplined attempt by Justin Coleman to take a shot when the opportunity arose, when a guy was vulnerable, and those aspects of the coaching are so crucial to us, and we take such great pride in it. It's exactly where we'd like to be.
Oh, Clark and the rest of the Seahawks host the Arizona Cardinals, 1:25 on Fox. Don't know who they're going to take on in the playoffs yet. Depends on how the weekend pans out results-wise. We do know that they're either going to play the Dallas Cowboys or the Chicago Bears. That much we do know. Right now, probably going to be the Cowboys. Coming up for the rest of this week on the NCAA Life Channel in sports, there's your schedule. It starts tomorrow night, hockey night, of course, always Thursday night. It features last Friday's game between Wenatchee and Vernon at 7 o'clock. On Friday, we're going to replay the East Montepasco girls basketball game from a couple of weeks ago. And then we'll have Wild weekend of hockey Saturday and Sunday. First on Saturday, it's the Wild of Merritt at 2 o'clock. Then on Sunday, it's Wenatchee and Trail from a game back in October. Sunday's doubleheader, by the way, features Wenatchee at Cowichan Valley at 2, followed by the Wild in Prince George at 7. Here in your exclusive home of Wenatchee Wild hockey on television, the NCW Life Channel. And those are just some of the games that people are playing at 28 minutes after the hour. Time for the obscure holiday on this December 26th, the day after Christmas. It's Boxing Day. Boxing Day, still a huge holiday in Great Britain, Australia, Canada, and any of the former British colonies. Boxing Day has absolutely nothing to do with boxing itself, like fisticuffs, that kind of stuff. Boxing Day is basically a day where the servants get waited on by the masters of the house for just that one day. The servants, the maids, the butlers, that kind of deal, they switch roles with the masters of the house, and for that one day, the day after Christmas, they get waited on hand and foot, while the people who run the joint take care of the servants. And that's basically what it is. There's all kinds of different Boxing Day traditions. Quite frankly, we don't have the time because it's the bottom of the hour. Let's do today in history. Today is the 99th anniversary of the Curse of the Bambino. It began on this date 99 years ago today, December 26, 1919. Babe Ruth of the Boston Red Sox sold to the New York Yankees by owner Harry Frazee, beginning the Curse of the Bambino. Over the following 83 years, the Yankees would win 39 American League pennants and 26 World Championships. The Red Sox would win 4 pennants and no World Championships until 2004. It all began on this date, December 26, 1919, 99 years ago today. December 26, 1963, I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles was released in the United States, and Beatlemania took off from there. Capitol Records didn't want to release it this early. They had their own plans, but the record started to get played by radio stations in the United States. Capitol considered suing, and then they said, to heck with it, let's just release it anyway. Beatlemania began in earnest in the United States on this date 55 years ago today, and finally said goodbye to the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union, may she rest in peace, died on this date 27 years ago. The Supreme Soviet of the Soviet Union met and formally dissolved the USSR. Mikhail Gorbachev resigned as the final premier of the USSR. It all happened the day after Christmas, 1991. And finally, birthdays. For this December 26th, the legendary Steve Allen, the actor, the comedian, the talk show host, also sang, wrote some songs. Steve Allen was born in the state in 1921. He was the original host of The Tonight Show, which began a franchise which made Steve Allen very wealthy and NBC very, very wealthy. Steve Allen was born in the state in 1921. He died at the age of 78 in 2000. Two baseball Hall of Famers celebrate birthdays on the same day. Carlton Fisk, Baseball Hall of Fame class of 2000, is 71 years old today. The great Carlton Fisk, considered by many to one of the best catchers of all time. Ozzie Smith, considered one of the better shortstops of all time. There's Ozzie. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He was inducted in 2002. Ozzie Smith is 64 years old today. And David Sedaris, the comedian, actor, radio host. He first landed on my doorstep back in 1992 when National Public Radio broadcast his essays, Santaland Diaries. He's had a bunch of essays since then. All of them have topped the New York Times bestsellers list. Very funny guy. David Sedaris is 62 years old today. 31 minutes after the hour, everybody's entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. And then my conversation with Caitlin Heddersheet, a night of driving around and hanging around with Albert Gonzalez on a DUI emphasis patrol. That conversation with Kat when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
What's your Automocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate for pita.
Definitely the espresso shakes.
My favorite is the mocha for pitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Bob's Burgers and Brew in Wenatchee. Only the best.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Bob's Burgers and Brew in Wenatchee. Only the best.
Thanks to the help I received at Goodwill, I have a job.
I'm working now. Thanks to Goodwill.
Thank you, Goodwill.
Thank you, Goodwill.
Thank you, Goodwill. Thank you, Goodwill.
Goodwill's Employment Connection Center is a free walk-in job search assistance program designed to get you back to work. When you donate to or shop at Goodwill, you're really helping people find work.
Thank you.
Goodwill, there's more behind the store.
NCW Life Channel is proud to present the Spotlight on Business. We're going behind the scenes to bring you the story of local businesses throughout North Central Washington. How did they get started? And why are they so successful? We'll answer these and other questions each week with Spotlight on Business, Sundays through Fridays on the NCW Life Channel.
Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, there's been lots of opposition to Nazism, all of which I agree with. However, for all our problems, this still is America. We're allowed to protest. Such protesting, etc., back in the days of early National Socialism would have landed me in a concentration camp. Now, if I remember correctly, the early camp inhabitants in Hitler's Germany were political oppositions of Nazism, not necessarily Jews. So I have to ask myself, would I have been so bold back then? If my life or my family's life and safety was going to be put at significant risk by opposition, either secret or open, would I have accepted that risk? And hardly risk, thank you, more of a sure thing. And what if the camps of our time now were for our Nazis, Confederate sympathizers, or others deemed to be racist and homophobic? Would I still oppose them? Something to think about. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
You don't want to see this happen. It's the oil light on your car. Oil is the lube of life for your car's engine. At Alignment Pros and Express Lube, they pour the best oil your car deserves. Expect fast, friendly, superior service in a clean environment. They'll change your oil and perform a 21-point inspection while you enjoy the comfort of their amazing waiting room. Keep your car in top shape at Alignment Pros and Express Lube in East Wenatchee.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. A couple of weeks ago, I endeavored to book the most famous person ever to come out of Delaware, Ohio. Unfortunately, the 19th President of the United States, Rutherford B. Hayes, is dead, and he was not available. So I went with choice number 2. I've referred to her for the entire time she's been executive producing my show. She's moving onwards and upwards. When I say Kat is in control, I was talking about the lovely lady to my immediate left, the former executive producer of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, Caitlin Headersheet, finally in front of the camera.
Yeah.
We had to pull some teeth, but you made it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
A little bit, you know this because you've done this show for a long, long time. Before we get into what we're talking about, and it's a very important subject, by the way, in the holiday season, tell folks a little bit about Kat. I know, but our audience
I know.
doesn't.
I've done the show so many times. I know what you're about to ask me before you ask me. But I don't know. I moved here in 2015 up to Chelan and moved from Chicago and moved out here and came to this station, I think, I don't know, 2016, 2017.
I think late 2016, right around, about
like
2 years ago.
Or Thanksgiving. I worked for a day and then I took like 2 weeks off.
I remember that.
Yeah, everyone was like,
so
did you work here?
It's been about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
2 years too long.
But if you think 2 years is too long, because she produced this show in her very first time ever, driving the bus by herself as we transitioned from Chris Williams, was that very day.
Oh my God.
That was St. Patrick's Day 2017.
Did Arch take that picture?
Arch took that picture.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. He would.
There you go. And now look what we did to you.
I know.
In a year and a half, or about the 18 months or 19, 20 months you produced this show, that's what I did to you. Am I that hard to work with?
Yeah, you're the worst.
Look at you. You were young and fresh and excited and full of energy, and now here it is all these months and years later, and it's just life has become an unbearable slog for you because of me.
Yeah, well, I somehow roped Megan into taking over,
Yeah.
so things are going to look up for me here soon. So.
Did you like doing the show?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Yeah.
No, it's been fun
Yeah.
coming in early. I never thought I would say that, but coming in early before everyone's here and just getting things going for people is a lot of fun. And I mean, you're a diva, but
yeah, my reputation of being difficult to work with is fairly well known.
Yeah. But it was fun. I had never ever touched a TriCaster before. I didn't even know what that thing was. So it was a huge learning curve learning it, and thanks to everyone for bearing with me through that process. I know it's rough when you have someone new. So.
The TriCaster is the big piece of machinery. It's like a video mixing board, if you will, and it's how things happen when you see graphics and videos and commercials and transitions and lower thirds and all that stuff. It's all in the TriCaster, and it's a complicated piece of machinery. I think it's been the analogy they use is like playing the piano.
Yeah, kind of. I would say piano is easier.
Yeah. Why is Kat here? I'll tell you why. Kat is here. As I mentioned before, she's transitioning away. She has transitioned away from this program. Megan is now in control producing this show. They give you some slightly different hours and some slightly different assignments, and which leads to the reason why you're here.
Yeah, so I'm going to be focusing on features for the evening news, and I guess I'm taking over the NCW magazine a little bit here and there. Yeah, we're going to try to get that back up and running. So my first feature, my kind of longest form feature, is going to be this DUI ride-along that I went on.
What was the genesis of that? I mean, how did somebody say, this is what I want you to do, or you say, I think this might be a good thing? Whose idea was it?
I can't even really remember. I think I had seen one of my friends from the Midwest in news was working with police officers in school zones or something, and I was kind of thinking about doing a ride-along, but I didn't want to do like just a general ride-along. I kind of wanted to focus on something. So talking with Steve and Cal in the newsroom, they were on board with focusing on DUIs, especially with the holiday season. It seems like there's more DUIs, but they're not really, they don't like grow, I guess, in the holiday season. But yeah, so that's kind of how we focused on that, and I just kind of reached out to Captain Reinfeld and got it going.
Administrative Bureau Commander Captain Edgar Reinfeld. Who played an integral part in making this happen. And once everybody said, yeah, let's do it, you set a date. What was your expectations going into riding along with Officer Gonzalez you were there with him for like 7-8 hours one night? Was that about right?
Yeah, I met him at the police station around 7 at their shift change on a Saturday night, and I don't think, he dropped me back off at my car like almost 3 a.m. Wow. I was only supposed to go till 11, but some things were happening, so it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, you picked a good night because he was busy.
It was, yeah. You know, he was saying that night, Officer Gonzalez was saying, it was actually a fairly slow night call-wise, but for me, I was like, oh my God, it's like one thing to the next.
If this is a slow night, what's a busy night?
Exactly, yeah. I was like, well, I want to come back again. Let me see a busy night. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. I was definitely nervous beforehand. Just in general about what we were going to see, how it was going to go, what I was allowed to do and not to do. There were kind of a lot of rules. We hadn't really done this with the police department before, especially with video. There's a lot of things you kind of have to shoot around. So I was nervous about that mostly. But once we got going, it was great. It was a lot of fun. I would definitely recommend it to anybody to go and try it.
I've never ridden in a police car in the front seat, so that must have been fascinating for you. So,
yeah, I mean, I had never been in a police car in general, so, I mean.
That's hard to believe. Why do they pick Officer Gonzalez specifically? Because I know he's a DUI, I don't want to say specialist, but he's
a DRE, which is a drug recognition expert.
Right.
But he also has the most DUIs so far in 2018, and by the time the feature airs, he'll still have the most. So I think he's got a little over 50. Which is a lot for the year. As far as what I'm told, the average is significantly lower than that. But there's some other guys nipping at his heels, definitely. But Reinfeld kind of picked him because he knows what he's doing when it comes to DUIs, and he's just been hitting the ground running with those.
Is his shift always that swing shift? Because DUIs, let's face it, we get the release from Rivercom every weekday morning at about 6 o'clock, and it's basically every reportable offense that law enforcement in North Central Washington goes on. And the vast majority of DUIs that we see is between, say, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night until 2:30 in the morning when the bars close. Yeah. And so is that his regular shift, that kind of shift, since that's his expertise?
Yeah, he sticks to night shifts. Some of the guys do swap shifts, day shifts and night shifts, but as far as I remember, he sticks to the night shift. And I mean, he is just like on it from the get-go. I mean, he has to, you know, as soon as you go on your shift, they're addressing calls that are kind of stacking up while they're switching shifts, and then from then on, he's just making contact with all kinds of people. So it was definitely, the beginning was a little bit slower. We weren't looking for DUIs right away, but once that 10 o'clock hour hit, you could really tell. On a Saturday night in downtown Wenatchee, you just hang around those main avs and it's no problem. They happen right in front of you, which is crazy. So,
Yeah, and we have some footage, by the way, that you brought with us as kind of a preview, kind of a teaser, what you'll be able to see next week when this movie, of course, hits theaters worldwide. What was it like working with Meryl Streep, by the way, on the set?
Oh my God. She's awful.
She's just awful.
Yeah,
I heard she's a bigger diva than I am. So we have some footage that, before we get to that, one more question. How much footage did you actually end up with?
Oh my gosh.
6 hours, maybe?
Once I went through and cut all the parts where I was accidentally shooting my face in the car, I probably had almost 4 hours of just interview to go through for some good cuts, and then B-roll was definitely almost 3 hours of B-roll.
That's a lot of footage.
Yeah, that's why it's, we did the ride-along December 8th, so that's why it's just taking me kind of
And that's the nature of this video business that we're in. It takes a while to put these things together. It really does. So let's roll footage of a little preview of what you have coming next week. Go ahead and narrate this, please, Kat.
So this is Gonzalez,
Officer
Albert Gonzalez with the Wenatchee Police Department. Our first call of the night was headed into the jail to address an issue with an inmate and some drugs. And then right from there, we're back on the street. I think that was work we just passed by. But he is making stops with people. The most common stop we were making, people aren't driving with their headlights on, which is a pretty common mistake. I've definitely done it before too. So often he's just pulling these guys over. He said 90% of his stops, he's really just giving people warnings. So this was a case of a guy driving with his headlights off. We found his license was suspended, I believe.
His driver's license?
Yeah, but it was his first time, so he talked to him for a little while and ended up letting him go. But yeah, definitely interesting to watch all these things these guys have to juggle, whether it's dangers with a traffic stop. He's saying that's the most dangerous.
So was he accessing the database there in his computer? He didn't have to go through Rivercom to find
Correct.
that out? Okay.
Yeah, well,
Right.
he'll send the registration, the car registration into Rivercom, and they'll give him some information, but he's also just kind of plugging things in from the license and registration there to do some checks. And he can pull up if they've been in an accident, what any charges were. I think this was a stop we made where another officer, off-duty officer, called in a driver he thought might be impaired. So we were kind of checking that out too. Definitely just a lot of people making minor mistakes, and Officer Gonzalez says those minor mistakes can definitely lead to him finding a DUI, for sure.
What was the percentage of I'm out and about and I'm seeing things that warrant my attention as opposed to I'm being dispatched by Rivercom on a call? Do you have any idea about the breakdown on that?
I don't know off the top. I'd have to go back through and know exactly how many calls we went out to, but we probably only, we had a noise complaint and a graffiti call, and those were the only two calls that we were called to from Rivercom. The other one, anything else we were doing was just him stopping people on his own. So yeah, I would say most of them is just him making stops as we're driving.
And it should be pointed out, this is a perfect example of what Caitlin was talking about earlier. There are absolute definite do's and don'ts when you're out and about shooting these things. Faces can't be plainly shown without permission, and license plates have to be pixelated, all those challenges that you have.
Yeah, I think the most awkward part was when we made a couple arrests, and he put someone in the car behind me, and often I was not allowed to get out of the car for a lot of different reasons.
Safety,
but
probably.
Yeah, mostly. And he would put someone in the car and close the door, and he'd be out kind of talking with some other officers or other people on scene, and I have like a very drunk person behind me just like asking me questions, and you're not supposed to interact with them, so that was definitely interesting too. This is a scene. This is when someone was speeding by us and he made a quick U-turn to catch them, and it actually ended up being an impaired driver, and she would not pull over. So we headed across the bridge into Douglas County.
Oh yeah, there you go. Heading over the Senator George Seller Bridge right there.
Yeah, and it was interesting. I always wondered what officers are saying and thinking in those moments, because it's got to be pretty irritating. And he was a pretty cool guy. He was just saying, come on, like, why? There's plenty of places to pull over, and we'll hear a little bit about that in the future. But yeah, it was just cool to be on the other side of things, for sure.
He seems to be a very professional officer.
Yeah.
Officer Gonzalez. They all are, of course.
He's fairly young too, so he was really down to earth with me, really easy to talk to. Just knowing a little bit of his background, I think I was a little bit nervous too, just with his history, but he was totally calm and cool.
Speaking of background, they had to do a little background check on you before they even
did.
let you do that.
Yeah, I had to give them a lot of just my, what is that, your license number or whatever's on your ID, what is that?
Okay, your driver's license
It's different in Washington. In Ohio, it's like a string of like random numbers, but here it's like
It's your last name and some numbers and letters.
Yeah, but I guess they're changing that. But yeah, they did a background check on me, made sure that I was going to be cool, I guess, and found some speeding tickets for sure, but I guess that's not anything to worry about.
That's not that big of a deal. And I didn't help much either, because when they came and did a background interview with me, I said no. No. What do you, was it what you expected when it was all said and done and he dropped you off at your car at 3 in the morning? It was like, okay, this is what I was anticipating when he picked me up 7.5 hours ago?
Yeah, it was a little bit more. I was kind of worried because you just can't predict what these guys are going to find. So I was, when the ride-along first started, I was like, man, I'm focusing on DUIs and we're not really getting any. And then right around the time that my main camera died, it was when we started pulling DUIs over. So luckily I had a backup, and that's really when things picked up. So by the end of it, I was pretty impressed that we were able to get what we got. Yeah.
As Kat mentioned, we're going to be running these as features during our news next week, as we're fully into the holiday season, and that's really why we're doing the DUI profile that Kat is doing. What do you want the viewer, and then we'll have it as a magazine as well as one long feature. What do you want the viewers to take away from this when they start seeing with the hard work that you've done? What do you, I mean, is the message? Well, everybody else don't drink and drive. That's silly.
Yeah.
But what message do you want the viewers to take away from your little project?
I just want them to kind of have an inside look into a really serious issue nationwide, and just to have some perspective on all the hoops that these guys have to jump through to really make a DUI work in the courtroom, but also just be more comfortable with the process of getting pulled over, of talking with these guys, knowing your rights. That was a huge thing too that I really wanted people to understand, is that you do have a right to an attorney. You do have a right to refuse some of these tests. So giving some of those up is in some of these cases that I saw was like monumental in putting these people in jail. So I would just really want people to kind of soak it in and definitely be a little more comfortable on the road, and just knowing that these guys they're there for them to keep everyone
And a
safe.
little piece of advice that my dad told me years ago, and it's been backed up by my various friends in law enforcement, including Administrative Bureau Commander Captain Edgar Reinfeld. Regardless of what you get pulled over for, and we're all going to get pulled over eventually in our lives, we don't want you to be drinking and driving, but if you get pulled over like you ran a stop line and you know you did it, and oh geez, okay, I'm going to get caught, and you pull over, put your hands on the steering wheel and wait for the law enforcement officer to come to you. Because the first thing that people want to do, okay, well, I got caught, I'm going to dig out my wallet, no, I'm going to reach over and I'm going to get my license, my registration out of the glove. They don't know what you're doing. As they approach your car from behind, they don't know what you're doing. They don't know if they're assuming that you're just trying to find the stuff he's going to ask for, but they don't know what you're doing. They can't see.
Yeah, he was, so they have these big spotlights on the front of the car, and so every time we made a stop, he's flashing that in to kind of at least see silhouettes of what's going on in the car. And then he's kind of waiting and watching a little bit before he approaches the vehicle, but approaching in a blind spot, he said, so that they can't really see him coming up is important. And just like, I think the biggest thing I learned is just to relax when you're getting pulled over, because most of the time these guys just want to let you know that your headlights are out, or your taillight's not working, or you're going a little bit too fast. They just want you to be aware, because it was amazing to see how many people just weren't aware of what they were doing on the road. And I mean, we saw one guy stop at a red light and then kind of like look back and deal with his kids, and then he just like forgot he was at a red light and went right through. So it's just like little things like that. They're just trying to talk to you, and so that opened my mind up a lot about that too. Just getting pulled over in general, because I'm always terrified when I'm pulled over. I don't know what I did really. Yeah. So, and Gonzalez was saying he gets scared when he's pulled over by police too. So they totally understand, and they can feel that you're nervous, and they just want everyone to kind of, you know.
Cops are people too. And they really don't like arresting people. They just assume not to do that. Air dates again, one more time before I cut you loose.
So the news features are going to air next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So what is that, the 26th, 27th, 28th, I believe?
Yep.
And then this is actually going to be a magazine. So Eric just gave me these dates yesterday. So magazines are going to be weekdays, 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. And so this DUI ride-along is going to be a magazine. And then also I met with Detective Steve Evett with the Wenatchee Police Department. And he went through the field sobriety test with me step by step and just explains what they're looking for and what they're doing. And then he kind of sat down with an interview afterwards to talk a little bit more about what DREs are and just kind of what they're looking for. So I'd really encourage people to watch that one too, just so that you understand what these tests are, and if you ever have to do one, you know kind of what's going on. That's important.
And super special thanks to our friends at the Wenatchee Police Department. It's much easier to say no. No. It's we wish you the best of luck, but our guys are busy. You just assume not. But no, they Administrative Bureau Commander Captain Nick Reinfeld came up big time. Officer Gonzalez didn't have to volunteer to do this, and he did it, and that was cool. It was a neat thing.
Yeah, it was really nice of them to just. It was a trust thing, really, at first, because we hadn't really done this with them before, and so I met with Captain Reinfeld beforehand to get some ground rules, and he was like, from here it's kind of on you, so we'll kind of see what happens, and met with him after, and he was pretty happy. So it turned out pretty well.
What's next then? What do you got? Something? What's percolating in the back of that head of yours?
Well, I'm headed out of town for a little bit, so I'm going to take a break. But I don't know. I would really invite people, if you have a feature idea, to email news@ncwlife.com. I'm always open to new ideas. I've got a feature I'm working on with the Eastmont Bonga Marimba Band.
Yes.
Yeah, there are some elementary students and a couple middle schoolers in that one. That one's going to be coming up soon, both on the news and the magazine. So, yeah, a couple.
You like telling stories? You like profiling people and things and telling their story?
Yeah, I like to check out some interesting things that people are doing that you might not see. The whole voicer narrating thing is new to me, so that's going to be kind of interesting as we keep going. But yeah, you definitely hear a lot more from me.
Any advice? We've got to cut you loose. Any advice for Megan before who took over the show from you? Any advice?
Just hang in there. It'll get better.
Can we show that photo one more time of her frame? Nah, we don't need to do that.
No.
Caitlin had her sheet. There it is. There you go.
No.
I still can't believe it.
Oh, back when I had hope
that.
and a hop in my step.
And then we just crushed your hopes. Television, I'm telling you, it'll do it every time. Have a good vacation, Kat. We'll see you next year.
Yeah.
We'll see you in just a couple of minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Kuntz Fashions has your lifestyle in mind. Casual to special occasions, head-to-toe styling, foundations to shoes, jewelry, scarves, handbags, awesome gifts too. Denim brands from Liverpool, Not Your Daughter's Jeans, French dressing, all fits and sizes. Slacks from Joseph Ribkoff, Renoir, Tribal, and Elliott Lauren. Easy care and flattering. Stylish sweaters from Icelandic, Curio, and Tribal. Great selection of cashmere sweaters and scarves too. We always have you in mind at Kuntz Fashions in downtown Wenatchee.
And we are back on this Wednesday Boxing Day tradition and edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We've got about a minute left. Let's take one more look at your weather forecast. As you can see, it's not snowing right now outside of our studios, but it's going to. Not a lot of snow. We're looking at less than an inch, maybe an inch and a half in some of the upper elevations, like way up on the East Wenatchee Bench and Fancher Heights and that kind of deal. Here in the valley floor, less than an inch of snow is expected today. A high of 35, cloudy and 26 tonight. Sunshine returns Thursday. And a high of 36 degrees. Next chance of measurable precipitation, really Saturday night into Sunday, but it looks really weak indeed with highs in the upper 40s. So this warming trend and this warm weather that we've had all fall and now into winter will continue. Again, some light spittles of snow, accumulations of around a half an inch to maybe an inch is all we're going to get today. That's it for this Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Don't forget the news at 5 o'clock with Grant Olson and Eric Grandstrom. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.